Before the video starts, I'm just letting you guys know I now have an official artist. That's right, Psychotic Rainbow. I will give you their Instagram. That way, if you want to ever speak with Psychotic Rainbow or have any request, let them know. Just keep in mind that Psychotic Rainbow is pretty busy most of the time.
Zodiac 85X presents Team XC.
Welcome back to ethics class, everyone. We're going to be reviewing John Robert Bell's presentation. I'm your teacher, Miss Katie, in case you are meeting me for the first time.
And we will be reviewing you. And also, take into mind that she is very serious about this. This is not comedy. I do understand that comedians are more uncensored, and so are movies. But this is social media. This is not a movie, guys. She is indeed very serious when she talks about stuff like this. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, let's just roll the rest of the video.
John, thank you for your presentation. You did an excellent job. You talked about ethics, and you talked about not bullying others. So 2 points there. Where you lose marks is where you say things like, we should not say the R word. Now you're right, we shouldn't be mean to others, but banning language is not okay.
Okay. Now I understand that you want freedom of speech. No biggie. But the problem is, this is social media. This is not the movies. This is not stand-up comedy. There are a lot of limitations because this is social media. This app is for everyone. This is not your personal website. You are not hosting your own video service. And because of that, you have to follow a lot of guidelines. You also have to keep in mind that there are going to be a lot of people offended, and you will be held accountable for everything you say on this app. Same thing with any website. Once you start to offend the entire community, that's when things get ugly. For instance, let's just say you get people of different ethnicities, different religions, different genders. It doesn't matter what the case may be. Once you offend that group, you are now held responsible for what you said. That's why you always have to keep in mind the people around you. Because if you say things that might offend others, you will then be responsible. No one but you is held responsible for what you do and say. You are the only one responsible for what you say. You need to treat social media the way you would walking outside your front door. Would you really say and do those things around people in your actual community where you live? Would you? Even with freedom of speech, you still have to be respectful to the ones around you.
When you say the R word, that's essentially the same thing as saying the original word to begin with.
No, it's not the same thing. You're essentially adding censorship to protect those that you might offend.
And John, if we can't say the F word and the R word and the N word, after a while we're going to run out of terms. We're going to run out of alphabet letters, right? So what we need to do is not ban language. We should be able to say anything we want.
Wow, you sure are holding back for someone that claims to believe all that? And also, if you did believe all that, then why are you on this app? Why not go to an app that would respect you? Like an app full of trolls. Now, I'm not saying there's not trolls on this app. Obviously there are. But originally this app was meant to be fun. Singing, dancing, talent, and the positive side of expression. What made it a fun place? That was the original purpose of this app.
And what's important is not that we pick on someone's language, but we pick on what they do. So you, John Robert Bell, need to work on being vegan. Not worrying about how other people talk, but worrying about who you're paying to murder. That's important.
What does any of this have to do with him going vegan? He doesn't have to go vegan if he doesn't want to. Just because he's doing positive things and trying to help others doesn't mean he needs to be vegan. That is your definition of vegan. Now, I'm not trying to defend Jorobe or anything because there's a lot that I disagree with him on, like his ability to debate veganism. But I do respect that he's trying to make a positive impact, and he does defend the disabled. Now, he is good at defending the disabled. But when it comes to debating veganism, he's not really addressing the actual problem at hand and really what he feels is the problem. But like, if he actually did research and provided factual evidence, then my opinion might change. But that's beside the point. Jorobe was basically making valid points on this one, and that vegan teacher was basically trying to say that we should be able to say whatever we want.
Being vegan is simply about doing your best all the time. Whether your plane crashes and you're on an island, or you're in the middle of a city with a grocery store right next door.
You know what? That attitude would change really quick if you were stranded on a snowy mountain with only animals around. If all you had to eat was meat and there were no vegetation, that energy you have now would flip reverse. And it's funny because you were once omnivore, and now you act like omnivores are the worst thing. If that's true, then why aren't you beating yourself up for the path that you once walked? How is it everyone else's fault, and you're not going to scold yourself for being omnivore most of your life? You don't just get to up and to decide for the shortest part of your life that, oh, I'm a vegan, so you're all criminals out there, and I'm the innocent one. If you're going to treat other people harshly, then you need to treat yourself the same as you're treating others, because you've been lumped in with us for most of your life.
Everybody can be vegan. There is zero excuse to not be vegan. Religion's not an excuse, age is not an excuse, and an eating disorder is not an excuse.
Why aren't you using that same energy to help promote peace in the world and help stop wars? You could be doing that and helping the world because there are wars going on out there. You could sit there and promote peace. Why aren't you doing that? And yet you just care about the animals. And there are soldiers out there protecting countries, and you're going to fight for the animals? There are people stepping on landmines, and all you care about is the animals. A soldier is more brave fighting for his country than a vegan activist is fighting for the animals. You know, those soldiers are fighting hard to protect your life. They're protecting lives out there. You might be sitting there fighting for the animals, but we have soldiers out there protecting us. You know what happens? If they start dropping bombs out in the world, you ain't gonna have to worry about the animals because there won't be any. That's why it's important to promote peace rather than fighting over a bit of animals. You say eating animals isn't kind? Well, guess what? Those soldiers fighting for our country so we could live, now that's being kind. That is a true definition of kindness right there. But yet you don't see that, and I've never seen you praise the soldiers. They are fighting really hard to protect people like us. I'm not a hero, and you certainly aren't a hero. But those guys fighting for people like us, they're the true heroes.
If you have an eating disorder, that's a mental health problem. It's not a problem to do with the food. No vegetable ever killed anybody unless you were allergic to it. Then just don't eat that. Don't say, oh, I'm allergic to soy, therefore I can't be vegan. Yeah, you can. Just eat other things.
You think that there's no issues with just vegan-only food? Do you honestly believe that? Because if so, why aren't doctors promoting veganism? Why aren't doctors doing that? And if you say they only care about the money, then why aren't they promoting vegan foods? And that stuff is so expensive. And you know how much more it would probably cost to get a hold of some vegan-only supplements? Vegan-friendly stuff is so expensive. Whether a doctor is or isn't in it for the money, he is still going to lead you to the best options available. And even if he sent you to a nutritionist, they're going to be the same way. They're not going to tell you to be vegan. And I'm most likely not going to go see a vegan nutritionist. And a doctor most likely isn't going to recommend one either. If you have to search really hard to try to find a facility that provides vegan care, then you probably shouldn't be looking for one.
Every single person can be vegan. Zero excuses. Okay, and I even checked with a doctor just to make sure. I said, is there anybody who can't be vegan? They said no. Unless they have like an allergy to like 100 things. But even that, there's still like 10,000 other things in the store to eat.
I doubt a doctor told you that, but even if he did, he was probably a vegan doctor and not a regular doctor. You know what I mean? And I'm wondering, what doctor told you this, because you never seem to provide any names of who said what. So I guarantee you're making this up. And even if there were a bunch of other else things to eat, nobody wants to go see a nutritionist on a regular basis and then go to the doctors to get some blood work done just to make sure they're not going to croak over from the diet they're on.
Okay, another excuse. Vegan food is too expensive. I can't afford it, said somebody. It's not too expensive. That's a lie you tell yourself.
How do we teach ourselves a lie when you can legit go to the store, find some plant-based hot dogs, and know that it's like $4 when you can get a pack of beef hot dogs for a lot less than that?
What you gotta do is just not be lazy. And most people in society right now are just lazy and spoiled. So spoiled. Thinking that they have to go to restaurants. And that's their God-given right to go to a restaurant, to pay somebody else to cook for you and to wash the dishes for you, or you throw out the package in the garbage. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Spoiled? For wanting to eat good? I think that's the one thing that everybody on this planet deserves, and that's to eat good. Nobody should ever have to do without. And as far as the waiters go, they make good money. They get paid good money in tips. They're happy about their jobs. And the same thing with the chefs. The chefs actually enjoy their jobs. Why take these away from people? Because if everybody was vegan, a lot of chefs would lose their jobs, and so would a lot of waiters. Nobody wants to work at vegan restaurants. That is torment for a lot of these people who enjoy meat. And as far as dishwashing goes, okay, it's not the best job in the world, but all they have to do is a quick scrub down, put it in the machines, and the machine will do most of the work. And it also gives them a chance to move up in the business and expand. So even if you start as a dishwasher, you might one day get promoted to management. Now, about what you said about being lazy, people don't want to have to work 8-hour jobs or longer and then come home just to do more work. Some people just want to go get something simple, like go to a restaurant or a fast food restaurant. These people don't want to have to put more work than their bodies can handle. People come home, they're sore, they're doing physical labor. And even if they aren't, it's still time consuming.
Go out and do the old-fashioned way. Go buy yourself a gigantic bag of oats. Eat that every morning. Go and buy a gigantic bag of lentils. Yeah, you know the hard ones that you have to put in water, cook from scratch? That's what we do.
All that for some beans and lentils. Who wants to slave over a hot stove for an hour or two after a hard day's worth of work just to get rewarded with vegetables which aren't even fulfilling? Why do we want to sit there cooking forever and it not be rewarding in the end? Like, if I'm going to cook for a while, I'm at least going to want some kind of steak or other forms of meat on there.
Buy yourself chickpeas, lentils, tofu. Tofu's not expensive. Fruits and veggies, if you think they're too expensive or they're going to get rotten, just buy them out of the cans. You can do it. Don't buy the expensive vegan cheese. You don't need that.
Wow. So we no longer get the good stuff. We now have to eat canned foods for the rest of our life. And you don't even get vegan cheese because you can't afford it. So what's that telling you? How is that making people want to go vegan? The day they drop the price on vegan prepared foods is the day people actually consider trying it. But trust me, most vegan food is pretty bland and doesn't really taste like meat like they claim.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.